I was standing at my own wedding reception, still wearing my veil, my mascara streaked down my cheeks, when my mother-in-law pointed at me and screamed, "Get out." Not whispered. Not said quietly out of concern. Screamed. In front of 200 guests, a live band, servers frozen mid-step, and dozens of phones already raised, recording what was quickly becoming a public execution. She thought I was just another broke girl who had trapped her precious son. She had no idea that in less than 10 minutes, a private jet would land in the vineyard behind us and turn her entire world inside out. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we go any further, hit that like button if you've ever been underestimated, and subscribe because I share real stories about resilience, justice, and quiet power. Trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end. They say your wedding day is supposed to be the happiest day of your life. Mine started that way. I remember standing in front of a vintage mirror in the bridal suite, adjusting my grandmother's pearl necklace with shaking fingers. The pearls weren't expensive. They weren't flashy, but they carried generations of strength, sacrifice, and survival. My dress was the same way. Simple, elegant, clean lines. No diamonds screaming for attention. I've always believed real power doesn't need to announce itself. Looking back, maybe that belief is exactly what made people underestimate me. I met Jonathan in college. We were both business majors, ambitious, curious, always talking about the future. He used to laugh and say we'd rule the world together someday. What he didn't know was that I was already building my own empire. While he studied for his MBA, I stayed up late too, but not with textbooks. I was coding, designing, testing, failing, restarting, building an app that helped students manage money better because I knew what it felt like to stretch every dollar. I never told him. Not because I was ashamed, but because I wanted something real. I wanted to know that the man who loved me loved the girl who ate pizza in the library and wore thrift store sweaters, not the version of me with balance sheets and valuation reports. Jonathan never asked how I paid for our weekend trips. Never questioned how I always seemed financially calm. He just said I was good with money. Sweet, trusting, and completely unprepared for his mother, Patricia. From the very first dinner Jonathan brought me home for, Patricia decided who I was. She smiled, but it never reached her eyes. She asked questions that sounded polite but weren't. So, what do your parents do? Where are you really from? And what are your long-term prospects, dear? Code words. Black women learn early how to hear what's not being said. Jonathan always defended me afterward. She just needs time, he'd say. She's protective. So I waited. 5 years. 5 years of birthday cards she never acknowledged. Christmas gifts she never thanked me for. Family gatherings where she introduced me as Jonathan's friend, even after we were engaged. I swallowed it all because I loved him. The vineyard in Napa Valley was supposed to be a fresh start. Rolling hills. Open sky. Soft light. I thought maybe beauty would soften her heart. The ceremony was perfect. Jonathan cried when he saw me walk down the aisle. My father stood tall in his navy suit, pride written all over his face. My mother clutched the handkerchief I'd embroidered for her, dabbing at tears. For 30 minutes, everything felt whole. Even Patricia behaved. The reception, however, told a different story. I was thanking guests when I overheard Patricia near the bar. "I don't understand what he sees in her," she said, loud enough to be heard. "She's obviously after the trust fund." Her sister nodded. "At least he got a prenup." Patricia scoffed. "He refused. Said it wasn't romantic. She's got him wrapped around her finger." My stomach dropped, but I smiled and kept walking. "Pick your battles," my mother always said. But Patricia was just warming up. During dinner, she stood for an impromptu toast. "Jonathan has always been destined for greatness," she said sweetly. "And now he's found someone who appreciates that." Then she paused. "I just hope this marriage is built on genuine love and not other motivations. Family money should be earned, not inherited through marriage. The silence was brutal. Jonathan squeezed my hand under the table, but said nothing. Not one word. I stood slowly. Thank you, Patricia. I believe love means accepting someone completely, regardless of circumstance. Polite applause. Forced smiles. Damage done. Later, she cornered me by the dessert table, drunk and vicious. You think you're clever, she hissed. But I see through you. You planned this. This is not the time, I said quietly. Oh, don't patronize me. Gold diggers always think they're smarter than everyone else. Phones were out now. She raised her voice. You don't belong here. Leave. Then she called security. At my own wedding. Something inside me finally snapped, not in anger, but in clarity. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number. Marcus, I said calmly. Bring the jet. Napa Valley. When I returned, Patricia was still ranting. I took the microphone. There's been confusion about who I am, I said evenly. So let me clarify. I explained the app, the investors, the growth. By the time I said, my company was valued at $50 million when we graduated, the sound of jet engines filled the air. The private jet appeared over the vineyard, landing gracefully behind us. Silence. Patricia whispered, Whose plane is that? I smiled. Mine. I continued. I never told Jonathan because I wanted real love, not respect purchased with wealth. Then I turned to my husband. And I needed to know you'd stand up for me. He hadn't. That truth hurt more than anything his mother ever said. Jonathan finally found his spine. He chose me. Patricia apologized, publicly, shakily, humiliated. We left the reception together, boarded the jet, and flew toward a future built on honesty and boundaries. As we climbed above Napa Valley, Jonathan asked, Is there anything else I should know? I laughed. I bought you a vineyard. Power doesn't need permission. Sometimes, the loudest statement is silence, until the jet lands. If this story reminded you of your worth, like, share, and subscribe. Never let anyone tell you who you are.